Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to give you some of my thoughts. I have completed grading the first exam, um, and I think that I had some questions from students, and you probably have some of these same questions. So I thought I would go ahead and respond this way to everyone, so that even if you didn't ask me specifically, you'd have the benefit of the question and the answer. Um, the exam was 30 questions long, and there were 60 minutes for taking the exam. That was plenty of time to take the exam. Some students have asked if we could have more time for the next exam. I don't know. I mean, we're going to, each exam is going to be evaluated on its own merits. I haven't written the second exam yet. I don't know how many questions it's going to be. I don't know whether it's going to be completely short answer or if it's going to be something that has some objective type questions, multiple choice, fill in the blank, true, false, that kind of thing. It may be a combination of that. What I find is that students will expand the time they have to fill whatever time is available. Now, it's true that some of you did not complete the exam. I'm sorry for that. Um, it's not designed for you to have a lot of time to go and look up answers and things. And I know some of you are doing that. I know because some of you told me that. So, those are the kind of things that if you answer quickly the answers that you can answer, then yes, it's an open book exam and you can do that. But it's not designed for you to be able to teach yourself in an hour the questions that I'm asking you. AI use. 20 to 25% of you used AI. I know that. I caught you doing that. I made notes for that. The AI answers were garbage. They got answers wrong. They added text to some of the answers that made the question wrong. And you know, stop it. Just don't do that. Your grades reflected that. I had some 44s and 32s and things like that from people that just spilled a bunch of AI garbage on there. ChatGPT is not doing well because it hasn't figured out how to study for my exams. Um, okay. And speaking of time on the thing, I had a student, I had several that did not complete their exam, and I got answers on some of them. Quote, I don't remember, comma, unfortunately. Why'd you bother typing that? Just skip. If you don't know it, just skip to the next question. Why would you type that? Same student. I don't remember this, professor. Okay. I figure you didn't remember it if you didn't get it right. So if you leave it blank, just click to the next one. They wrote a paragraph on the question that I asked about why you would sue Walmart in Shelby County, Alabama. What legal principle? The answer was venue. It was one freaking word. They wrote a paragraph on that. AI, maybe, but generally speaking, people just didn't exercise good common sense. The first or the second question on the exam asked what the process was called by which Miss Lebec discovered, I was giving it away, that there were 700 uh, injury claims in the McDonald's case. The answer was discovery. One word. Why in the world would you write a paragraph on that? Why? You don't get any bonus points for answering more than that. And many times a student would take points away because they would say something that ended up being incorrect. I can't give you credit when you're answering like that. Be legally precise and specific. I have told you before that answers that are AI generated or even appear to be AI generated are not very good because they're trying to give you an encyclopedia, and that's garbage in the legal profession. You need to be legally precise and specific. you're not going to get credit, or you're going to get partial credit at best for those type of answers. That's why AI is not going to do well for you on this one. Now, I want to go ahead and mention a couple of specific type questions here. There was a question about why you might choose circuit court, why there are some advantages if you wanted to sue for $15,000 of damages. Some of you, again, you're not thinking. You're trying to memorize stuff and do an encyclopedia kind of dump. You said, well, because you circuit court, you can get more damages. No, you can't. You're suing for 15,000. District court and circuit court can award you the same amount, up to $20,000. So that's why I asked for 15,000. That's why the question asked that. Instead, you should have said something like, well, you can get a jury. Jury can hear that. Or, there's 30 days to respond for the defendant. Oh, that would be an advantage for the defendant for the most part. Another example is if you appeal it, you don't get a trial de novo. But really, jury was the one that most people got that got it correct. Not that they can award more damages. They cannot. That's wrong. They cannot award more damages because you're suing for $15,000. If you had sued for 25,000, yeah, they could award more damages, and that might be a reason that you'd pick circuit court. But if you're suing for 15,000, you don't pick circuit court because they can award a million, because you're suing for 15,000. Makes no sense. Exercise that brain. One of the early questions asked what negligence was applied in the New Mexico case. And several answers were gross negligence. Now, I'm not sure where that came from. That may have been AI generated. I don't know for sure. It was wrong, so you didn't get credit. Comparative negligence. I mean, we spent so much time on comparative negligence. There's even a separate comparative negligence versus contributory negligence, and how the thing would have been different in Alabama. In fact, I asked that question, which I'll talk about later. Ask a question about how much the jury awarded to compensate Ms. Lebec for her injuries. Not 2.7 million. That wasn't to compensate. That was punitive damages. That was damages designed to punish. The answer, which I accepted either one, 200,000 is what the jury awarded. It was reduced to 160,000. I didn't care. If you gave me either one of those, I knew you knew what you were talking about, and so I gave you full credit. But not 2.7 million. If you added that, then you got something taken off because you're not answering the question. I don't want to have a garbage dump of stuff on the exams. It's not going to give you credit. It's going to take points away every time. Dump AI garbage on there, dump Wikipedia type Google answers, you're going to get points knocked off. Pay attention, answer the question. Uh, Listen, I've been in front of judges. You try to do that in front of a judge, you're going to get blistered. You ask and answer the specific question that is asked. Okay, speaking of using common sense, goodness gracious, I was surprised. There was probably 10 or 15% of the class that missed the question about what McDonald's said in terms of when customers would drink the coffee and why they served it that hot, and what their own research revealed. 10 to 15% of you said their own research revealed that they wouldn't drink it for 20 or 30 minutes. Come on, guys. McDonald's lost the case. They had bad testimony. Their own research was that customers would drink it right away. That's why the jury awarded what they awarded. Man, you're serving this coffee way too hot and you know they're drinking it right away. Think. Exercise common sense. I mean, even if you didn't remember that for sure, just thinking about it, you should get that right. Yeah, I honestly cannot remember this one. I apologize. They're just again, don't type those things if you lack time to answer the question. Um, I had a student that answered the exam in 9 minutes, and it wasn't AI generated, but they had quick correct answers for the most part. They made an A. It was, I think, 91 on the exam. And you could just tell they read the question and said discovery. They went to the next question and said comparative negligence, reduced damages. Jen just kept going on like that. They didn't have a bunch of garbage kind of stuff, no paragraph kind of things, and they answered the exam very, very quickly. 9 minutes and something, under 10 minutes for the 30 questions. I don't expect that. I don't expect that. But 30 minutes, yeah. If you were used to taking law exams, and I get that you weren't, you should be able to answer quite an exam like this in 30 minutes, not an hour. 30 minutes, and then if you want to spend some time looking and checking, gee, arbitration, what was that? I remember that they was talking about that lecture. Let me see if I can pull my notes on that. I'm gonna speak about that in a second. Oh yeah, it was a license to steal. Uh, let's see. I remember he was talking about collection and it being very important to know about the ability of the defendant to pay. How much was that he collected? Some of you were, you know, $10,000, $5,000. No, I wouldn't be that upset. It was a $1.5 million judgment that I got against the defendant. 1.5 million I couldn't collect. And that was on a contingency fee. So, you know, that's why I spent some time talking about it. I had a student that emailed me or texted me last night, said that they had not done very well on the exam, and wanted to know what they should do. And they said, frankly, that they hadn't reviewed all the materials and they hadn't reviewed all the materials well. Well, that's what you do. You review the materials and you review them well. I told this particular student that, wild guess, but in my opinion, you probably should have 20 pages of an outline for each exam. That's 10 pages a week. Probably should take you 3 or 4 hours a week to do. That's not too much. You don't have any homework. This is your homework. A lot of material, but the students that made A's, you know, I think it was easy. I think the exam was easy. If you watched the things, then you knew that McDonald's offered $800 to settle the case. It wasn't zero. It wasn't 10,000. It wasn't 20,000. It was zero. You should have known that. He was just sitting there watching. What's his name? Adam Ruins It All. I think that's where that one came from. Uh, all the answers came from the materials that were provided. In any event, let me tell you the grades were poor, but there were a good number of A's on the exam. But there was some super low grades that created a 68% class average. I like the average to be about 80%. I'm sure you would too. Uh, as far as bonuses are concerned or extra credit, just look. It's going to happen sometimes, several times during the semester. I don't have anything that's immediately on the agenda, but it'll be, pretty quick. There'll probably be a 10-point bonus kind of thing. You add that if you didn't do what you wanted, if you made a 68 on that first exam and then you get 10 bonus points, that's 78. I don't add it to the exam. We just all the points add together. It's all the same kind of thing. And in fact, if this ends up being your lowest grade and you're dropping it, you wouldn't want the 10 points added to it anyway. You want those 10 bonus points no matter what. But I'm just telling you in a way of thinking about this. So don't worry too much. Now, if you made a 32 or something like that, you probably need to worry and think about what it is that caused you to make the 32. If you made the 32, then you need to assess where you are in the class, what you did wrong, and how you can improve for the next exam. Um, I offer this for everyone, which is that if you want to go over your exam with me, we will set up a Zoom session. You can turn your video off. I don't need to see you. I'll leave mine on but I'll share your screen. I'll share the screen and I'll pull up your exam and we'll go over the questions that you missed. Usually you don't need to see the questions that you got right. And I'll talk about why you missed the questions that you missed. Um, I don't just open up the exams to everyone after the exam is taken. And there's a specific reason. I do it for two main reasons. One reason is that at some point I may recycle some of the questions or at least something similar. These are all brand new this semester, so nothing's ever been seen before. But in sometime 3, 4, 5 years from now, if I'm still teaching the class, there may be one of these questions that is recycled. So I don't just like to have it floating out there in Never Never Land. The second and most important reason, however, is not that. It is that generally students need to understand and have explained why they missed a question, not just, oh, you missed that question. You need to have the professor look at it and say, look, this you said because the circuit court can award more damages. Yeah, that's a true statement, but it doesn't answer the question. The question is, why would you choose circuit court in this situation? Circuit court can't award you more than 15,000 because that's all you're suing for. You're not suing for a million. They're not going to award you $1 million case, $1 million judgment on a $15,000 case. Instead, you've got to look to the real reasons of why you might choose circuit court in this situation, in this question, in the fact pattern presented by this question. You need me to help you understand that. And that's why I don't just open it up because it doesn't do any good. It's not going to do any good. If you want to improve on your ability to analyze law, think like a lawyer, I'm sorry, but think like a lawyer and be able to apply law and analyze it and be able to use law to understand how it can benefit you or what your exposure might be, then this is part of the process. I am volunteering my time to go over this with you. Take advantage of it. Best of luck on the next exam. Please, I hope you watch this all the way through. I'm listen, 68%. I've had classes that have done worse on the first exam. You'll get better. I promise you'll get better at understanding and learning how to apply law and and taking it more quickly if you ran out of time. I promise you'll get better. Now, how much you'll get better, I don't know, but you'll get better. Everybody gets better as they take more law exams. Thanks, and I'll see you on the next Zoom session.